Hey guys, Lady Liberty Stacker here. It is Thursday, November 1st, 2018, and I'm back for another video. This time it's about cast iron and should you or should you not cook with it on your glass stovetop. The reason why I'm doing this video is I've been getting a couple comments lately on my cast iron videos asking if you can cook on a glass stovetop, or one comment said, that she had an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and read that comment to you, and then we'll go into the video here. This individual wrote, "The ones with the raised edge on the bottom cannot be used on glass cooktops, quote unquote, in all caps. My stovetop exploded because no one informed me." Well, hey, I didn't ask. Okay, before I give you the answer to this individual, I've been using this one for probably the last 5 or 6 times. I'm trying to get it to blacken, and I'm trying to get in to fill in these areas of pitting. This is a Birmingham stove and range. I picked this up at a flea market citywide garage sale back in June. It was covered in rust. And and it's all in how you handle your skillets on the stovetop. You don't want to drag them across. But this has the heat ring that she mentioned. She said ridge on the bottom. It's called a heat ring. And these actually were made for old cook stoves way back in the turn of the century in the early 1900s. This number 10 would fit a number 10 ring on one of those cook stoves, even though it's 12 inches in diameter from side to side. But at any rate, this was an old Birmingham stove and range with just the size of the heat ring and the model 10D on mark, but it is a Birmingham stove and range. You can see from the handle, and there's a great website that you can check this stuff out. It's castironcollector.com, but that's not the point of the video. But the point of the video is they said that you can't cook with these, and I'm going to tell you that you can, because I have been doing that. I actually cooked pancakes in this the other day for breakfast, and we'll get to that in just a minute. That's the Birmingham stove and range. And then, of course, I've had these I've been cooking on since last July after I did them. This is a unmarked Wagner, and it says 6.5-inch skillet H on it, and it's got the 3. It's a number 3, 6.5 inches. And doesn't have made in USA on it, so it was made before 1960, but it is a flat bottom. These are a little bit easier to use on a glass stovetop. I mean, I wouldn't go out and buy a heat ring with a skillet if that makes you uncomfortable. But these, as long as they're smooth on the bottom, present no issue when cooking on a glass stovetop. So I'll go ahead and put that back with those. This is also one of the first skillets that I did. This is a number 6. This is a marked Wagner, and it's a 1056 Q. Looks like Q there. We've been hearing a lot about Q lately. Anyway, this one here I made scrambled eggs in this morning, and has an area of pitting over here, but it is a wonderful cooker, and it's smooth on the bottom, a flat bottom, and it's black and shiny as well, so you can use it to cook on your glass stovetop. You do need to be careful, with these guys here with the heat ring. Obviously, you don't want to drag any of this stuff across your cooktop. You don't want to drag stainless steel across your cooktop. You don't want to drag anything, really, if it can scratch your cooktop, because that's just what's going to happen. Now, my cooktop is going on 20 years old, so it does have scratches on it, from wear and tear over the years, and just, I cook, sometimes it's pretty hectic in here, and sometimes you scratch it, but I think those were there long before I started with cast iron. But this guy here, you can use it, but 2 things you need to be aware of. When you heat it up, it's going to take longer to heat up, but you need to heat it up probably like there. I'm not going to heat it up now, but between low and medium, and you want to let the skillet heat up gradually. And then somewhere, if you're doing scrambled eggs, something like that, you want it to be lower than medium. If you have a cast iron, or if you have a stove that has the numbers on it that go up to 9. You probably want to put it around a 4. I just put it at less than medium, and it seems to be just fine. But, oh, there we go again. This, I have a loose connection there. Bulb is okay. But it is acting up during this video today. It's driving me nuts. So at any rate, you just need to be careful. So you need to gradually heat up your pan. And once it heats up, then they can be used to cook, and the heat will eventually spread out through the whole skillet. So you have to be patient. When I heat my skillets up, that's when I'm getting my ingredients out of the fridge or the freezer. That's when I'm chopping my ingredients if they're vegetables. So it doesn't bother me in the slightest to let it heat up that way. The other thing is you need to be very careful when turning it or re-seasoning. I have my little silicone pad there to help out. This is kind of heavy. It is a number 10. But I'm not dragging it across the stove, so I'm not scratching the stove. But this one works quite well doing pancakes, eggs, cooking chicken, whatever. I even fried an egg in this as a demonstration, and you can do it. It's not going to stick. One thing I do want to say is when you have a cast iron skillet, they say never go over. See how carefully I'm doing that? Never go over more than an inch beyond the burner there. But it still will spread out eventually if you're patient, so that's not a big issue either. But if it's a big heavy skillet like this with the heat ring and you can't manipulate it okay, and sometimes you don't have 2 hands to pick it up with, but you do need to pick it up instead of drag it, buy either an older vintage like a Griswold that's a little bit lighter if you can find one. You're going to have to pay up for it if you don't want to strip it and re-season yourself. They go for, one this size will go for $150 to $250. And the other thing you can do is the Field Company also has a number 10. They make cast iron out of recycled cast iron. New cast iron skillets, I believe they have a number 8 and a number 10 available for sale. I think the number 10 is in the neighborhood of $125 to $140. But they do all the work, and you get to cook with it. So it's called the Field Company. All right, so you can cook on your stovetop. You just have to be careful. Heat up gradually. Be patient. Don't drag it across the stovetop. And the other thing that when I dug into this a little bit more, sometimes when a skillet is, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over again. It's very heavy, and I'm using this with one hand. I'll just go ahead and put it right there. It's up higher than the stovetop, so your coil will have to heat on, and then it'll turn off. When it recognizes that the skillet is too warm, it'll turn off. But again, as long as you handle it carefully, I've cooked on these on the stovetop without issue whatsoever. Now I'm going to go ahead and move this guy over here. I'm going to go ahead and put him on there, and I'm going to show you sometimes what you can get with cast iron on your stovetop. And you need to keep your stovetop clean. You also need to clean your skillet with lukewarm to warm to hot water after you've used it. The water temperature should match the temperature of the skillet. Skillets don't like drastic heat changes. But sometimes when you do mini seasonings on here and you're cooking on your stovetop, it'll leave behind a residue. This was a lot worse. There was residue way over here, and you could see, circular rings around here. This was pretty bad, and I've gotten it fairly clean, and if you clean fairly often, it won't get to that state. But you can use cast iron. You just have to keep your stovetop clean, and you have to clean your cast iron. And if you do that, this condition will be kept under control. But the only thing that really, really works really well is a product called Barkeeper's Friend. Got this at Home Depot. I paid $2.48 for it. And I'll show you how I clean the stovetop. And I'll clean a little bit of this. And we'll work on this area over here. Remind you, this was really, really bad. Because that's something I really never thought about. I really didn't pay attention to. And as I get into this more, I learn more. And I'll pass that knowledge on to you. But this is called Barkeeper's Friend. Apparently it's been around since 1882. If you have rust in your water, it'll get rust off of bathtub fixtures, sinks. You can clean your coils with it on your, you know, if you have coils on your electric range. And before I go any further, with the electric range, you may wonder why I don't have a gas stove. Well, I have all electric house. When these homes were built, which we bought it after it was built, but when these homes were built, they had an energy credit where you could get a discount from the electric company if you had an all-electric house. Well, we bought it. Our electric bills are always manageable, and we get a residential credit each and every month for all electric, and they capped our gas lines some time ago. If we were to replace this stove and put a gas stove in, not only would we have to, you know, pay for a gas stove, you'd also have to pay to have the gas cap removed and the gas line reinstalled or reconnected. It's already there. So we could use gas. So it really wouldn't make sense. I like all electric. I have a wood burning stove that I use to supplement it, so I'm just going to keep my stovetop. Another thing is, I went to look at this stove is almost 20 years old. To replace it, I looked at to see if I could find a coiled stove because I do like my cast iron. Cast iron is going to stay. They're not too available. So the other option is induction. Their coils, their burners work more consistent and better with cast iron. I haven't really thoroughly delved into that, but you still have the glass you have to deal with even on an induction electric stove or oven stovetop with a glass stovetop. So at any rate, you need to take care of it. So I'm going to set the camera down and I'm going to show you what I did to try to get this clean. Let me go ahead and set this down. You can see there the residue that's still on. I don't know if I can get all of that off, but we're going to try. And the other thing that you can do is you can use a razor blade. And I got this at Home Depot. Just wanted a fresh one. And notice that it's one of the few things you can get that's made in the USA. Yep, made in the USA. And it comes with some razor blades, so I'm going to go ahead and remove. See if I can get the covering off the razor blade. You want to use a fresh one when you're going to do these cleaning tasks. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. There we go. Get it all the way over there. So, and you want to use it at a 45-degree angle when you have your barkeeper's friend on there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wet a sponge, a non-abrasive sponge, and we're going to go ahead and pour a little bit of the barkeeper's friend on. And we'll go ahead and start over there. We'll just go ahead and put that on, and we're going to go ahead and just scrub it gradually. And believe it or not, this really is taking the grime away. That is baked on residue from more than likely the cast iron or the seasoning that you put on the cast iron, because you do the interior and I do the exterior as well. And they say to do this no longer than about a minute, then you want to rinse. So I've just been doing it gradually. And just do circular motions. That's the way they say you should brush your teeth as well, so you don't damage your teeth. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not. So here we are. Now what we're going to do is I'll put this down, and then we'll go ahead and take the razor blade and try to scoop away that residue. And this is not scratching it, believe it or not. This is perfectly safe to do. Any of the videos that I put out, I vet and research the subject thoroughly before I put it out for you guys. I don't want to give you bad information. So I give you information as current as I can find it. So there we go. We have it there. And I'm going to go ahead and spread it back around. Now we're going to rinse this out. Just give it a good wipe down. They say about a minute, because you don't want to do it much longer than a minute because it can dull the finish of your stovetop. So we're going to go ahead and just wipe it down. And then I have a dry paper towel. I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down here. And it gets better gradually. Now it's wet, it looks perfect, but it will dry and you can still see the imperfections. But as long as you, so it's drying right now. And it's better than what it was, but you still have some of that residue that I'm going to have to work on to get it off. So, but you want to make sure you clean your stovetop. You don't want to be cooking and grinding in that burnt food and all of that from your cooking. So Barkeeper's Friend is the best thing out there. Before I had Skillet circular marks on my stovetop here and more over there than I do right now. So the video is getting kind of long, but I just wanted to go over that subject with you. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave them below in the comment section. Give me a thumb up if you like to see videos like this. I'll leave a couple of links below in the description if you want to check this out further. Thanks for watching, and go make it a great day.